Quick, what's the best airline to fly to Korea on points? If the first airline that came to mind is Korean Airlines, you'd be wrong. It's actually pretty tricky to find award space on Korean Airlines. But Korea has another airline that's fantastic for points redemptions, and that's Asiana Airlines. It might not be top of mind because they have almost no transfer partners. Marriott Bonvoy points are the only flexible currency that transfer to Asiana, and I wouldn't really say that's the best use of your Marriott points. But the great thing about Asiana Airlines is that they're a Star Alliance partner, and you can find their flights on tons of other sites where you can transfer flexible currencies like Chase, Amex, Capital One, Citi, and Bilt. A second great thing about Asiana Airlines, they're known for releasing last-minute partner availability. So if you're not into booking your award seats 10 months out like most points people recommend, this is definitely a great option to look into. In this tutorial, we're going to go over 4 different ways to travel to Korea on points, and make sure you stay until the end of the tutorial where I'm going to break down which option is going to be the best for you based off of your particular point situation. And if you have a particular points trip in mind that you'd like help booking, I offer free one-on-one coaching calls every week through my newsletter, which you can sign up for using the link in the description box. The first option we're going to start with is United.com, which is always where I'd recommend you start if you're looking for Star Alliance award availability with any of these airlines. If you'd like a deeper tutorial on how to use United.com to find partner award space, check out this video as well. I think we can find some award flights over to Korea, so if we are searching with Star Alliance partners, like usual, I always recommend starting with United.com because their calendar makes it really easy to find partner award flights. So you're just going to go to United.com, type in one way, check book with miles. We want flexible dates. We're just going to search for one person, one way to make it easier for now. I'm trying to find it from San Francisco over to Incheon. And the thing about Asiana Airlines is they are really good with releasing last-minute availability, so you don't have to book things 10 months out like most of the different award flights that we talk about on the channel. So it's February right now when I'm recording this, and I'm going to search for March, see what we get for business class flights. Let's go ahead and click Find Flights and see what we get. So here's the great thing about United is they give you this whole award calendar to show you when are the cheapest dates to find saver space. So for business class, usually it's going to be 170,000 or 200,000 points, but we do have a few days where it's only 77,000 points. So on the 4th, the 5th, and the 6th of March, let's click on the 4th and see what that gets us. Here are the different available routes on March 4. So somewhere in this business lowest column, we should see 77,000 miles. So here they would be charging us 77,000 miles plus $42.40. This does have a stopover in Frankfurt. It's San Francisco to Frankfurt over to Incheon, but it is a saver space, so it's only 77,000 miles. If instead you wanted to do a non-stop route, they don't have business class available for this one, but they do have economy available from San Francisco direct over to Incheon, 38.5 thousand miles plus $5.60 on Asiana Airlines. So that's a very solid option as well. Both of these are really great prices, especially if you have Chase points or Bilt points that you can transfer over to United.com to book these tickets. That United option wasn't bad, but can we find a cheaper option somewhere else? Let's check Air Canada next. And if you like these tutorials where we break down step-by-step for you how you can find the best deals by transferring your points to different airlines, please let me know by liking this video and subscribing to this channel for even more points and miles tips. All right, let's see if we can find the exact same flight for cheaper with Airplan. So we're typing in the same parameters, one way, one person to make this easier to search. Book with Airplan miles, searching from San Francisco to Seoul on March 4. We already know the exact date that we want to search for because of that United calendar feature, whereas if we tried to find the saver space on Air Canada, we'd have to check day by day, which is a little bit annoying. That's why I always start with United. So let's go ahead and click on search flights and see what we find. All right, so here are the results for San Francisco to Seoul on Saturday, March 4. I went ahead and sorted by business class on the cheapest one. We see the same flight where it's San Francisco, stopover in Frankfurt, over to Seoul. But here, I didn't even realize this when I searched for it on United. It's only half in business class. So if we search these United results and click on details, the San Francisco to Frankfurt piece is United Polaris Business, which is really nice, but the Frankfurt to Incheon piece is only going to be in economy. So you kind of have to weigh in if that's something that you want to do is fly half in business, half in economy, or you could just take the saver space, fly nonstop in economy. Let's see what Air Canada has for us. It's 115,000 miles for that same one, rather than the 77,000 that United is charging, or they would charge 75,000 if you wanted to do this economy piece. If you wanted to do the non-stop economy piece, then you could pay 50,000 Canadian miles or Aeroplan miles plus $73 in taxes for this nonstop on Asiana Airlines, whereas with United, that same flight is going to be 38.5 thousand miles plus $5.60 on the nonstop to Asiana. So clearly here you might be thinking, well, we should go with United because it's cheaper on both fronts. The thing you're going to have to think about is that United doesn't have as many transfer partners as Air Canada. With United, you're going to need to transfer over Chase points or Bilt points, or unless you just have a lot of United miles sitting in your account. With Air Canada, they take pretty much everything. Chase, American Express, Capital One, Bilt. So you have a whole lot of other options. If you're like, I don't have that many Chase points, I don't have that many Bilt points, but I have a lot of Amex points, then you might want to look into maybe transferring it over to Air Canada instead, because that gives you more options. But you have a couple other options for booking this flight too, so let's go on to the next tutorial. Another one of my favorite Star Alliance sites to check for award availability is ANA. This is the site that I used when my husband and I flew to Greece, where we were able to get round-trip business class seats for 88,000 miles each. We booked through ANA to fly Air Canada business class on the way out and Turkish Airlines business class on the way back. So let's see if ANA can help us with this Korea search. P.S. Greece is one of the most popular destinations requested in the Patreon when we do monthly group coaching, and we talk about lots of different ways to fly there using points. If you're interested in group coaching to level up your points game, we have a link to the Patreon for you in the description box. When you join, you can get access to many hours of exclusive masterclasses as well. So the third site where I would recommend searching for flights to Korea using Star Alliance would be ANA. Here we are searching for an award reservation. They don't let you do one-way searches, so you're going to have to do a round trip, but we'll see what we come up with here. We are searching from San Francisco to Seoul, same date, March 4. You have to pick a return date. I just picked something that was about a week out. And then you want to always check this compare seat availability by plus or minus 3 days, because if you have flexibility in your travel dates, that's going to help you find a lot more award space. We're going to select business class, one person at a time to make this easier, and let's go ahead and click search. Okay, so it looks like there's no business class award availability for this exact route we put in. So we're going to go ahead and click close here, and then let's see what happens if we click on economy. Okay, so we do have award availability for economy. We basically have our pick of any dates that we want. March 4 is available. If we click confirm, we can pick on March 11. So let's go ahead and click these dates and see what routes are available and how much ANA is charging us on points to book these flights. Let's go ahead and click next. Okay, so here we have the results from ANA for flying to Korea. It's going to be that same nonstop flight from San Francisco to Seoul, nonstop economy class Asiana Airlines, and then the same thing back. Since ANA requires us to book a round-trip flight instead of one-way searches, the required mileage is only 60,000 miles to do this round trip in economy for nonstop flights. The thing about ANA is these are crazy taxes and charges. It's $600 on top of the 60,000 miles that you have to pay for one passenger. It's usually worth it in business class if you had found business class availability to tack on the $600, but given that this is just an economy flight, you might be able to find some cheap cash fares to get you over to Korea in economy class round trip for a little over $600 anyway. So I would probably skip out on this ANA result and not move my Amex points over to do this. However, we do have one last option for you to try to find award space to Korea. So let's go ahead and walk through that. Okay, so while ANA has served me well in the past, it was not the best option for this particular route to Korea. We have one more partner airline to try today, which is Avianca LifeMiles. It's most commonly associated with travel to Latin America, but it's actually great for finding partner award flights all over the world. Let us know in the comments where you're most interested in traveling to with points, and I can put together some of these detailed tutorials for the most requested destinations. All right, the final site that we are going to check for award availability to Seoul is going to be Avianca LifeMiles. So you're going to go to lifemiles.com/fly/find. We are going to type in the exact same search parameters, one way to make this easier for one person, San Francisco to Seoul, and we are going to try to do this in business or first class if possible. Since Avianca is a Star Alliance partner, we should find a lot of the same award availability, hopefully. Let's click go and see what we find. All right, so similar to the other websites, we do not have business class availability on this nonstop route, but we do have the nonstop economy route from San Francisco over to Incheon. it would be 40,000 life miles plus $26.70 in taxes and fees. That's not bad, considering that pretty much any type of flexible point would transfer over to Avianca. So let's go ahead and compare all of our different options that we found through the 4 different sites. So there we have 4 different options for how to book this flight to Korea, but which one's the best? Should we take anything into account other than points price? Here's how to evaluate your options. So which of these options would I actually use if I wanted to fly this nonstop route from San Francisco over to Incheon operated by Asiana Airlines? This United flight is pretty solid, or this United option. If you have Chase points or Bilt points, you could transfer them over to United and spend 38.5 thousand miles plus $5.60 to fly this nonstop economy route. The only downside is if you're, for instance, reserving all of your Chase points for Hyatt, you don't have a lot of Bilt points, then you wouldn't be able to jump on this option. That's where Air Canada comes into play, where you can get the exact same route for 50,000 Air Canada points plus $73 in Canadian dollars. This costs a little bit more than United, but if you have a few Chase points, but not enough, but you do have some Amex points or Capital One points or something like that, and you wanted to pool Air Canada, Capital One, Chase, Bilt, all into your Air Canada account, then this is a pretty good option for you. And then we have this ANA option where they don't let you do one-way flights, but for round trip, it would cost 60,000 miles, which isn't bad. The bad part is that it's $600 in taxes and fees for an economy flight. So if you wanted to do the San Francisco to Seoul route, I would almost just see if you can find a cheap cash fare if you're gonna do it this way, because $600 is a lot in taxes and fees to do an economy redemption. Not to mention that the only partner that would transfer over to ANA would be Amex, and it's not instantaneous. You would have to find this award availability, transfer 60,000 Amex points to your ANA account, wait 3 days for it to post, hope that your award availability doesn't disappear in that time, and then you're still gonna pay $600 in taxes and fees. So for this particular award search, I would say ANA is the clear loser, and I would not recommend this one. And then we have our 4th option, which is life miles. They're charging 40,000 life miles plus $27 in taxes and fees, which is really solid. So it's pretty close to the same price that United is charging, but the nice thing about Avianca Life Miles is that they have a lot more transfer partners. I really like this page from Upgraded Points where you can see how many points you need to transfer to different airlines. You can check all of the different flexible points. You can check all of the airlines. And here, if you wanted to transfer to Avianca, you can transfer Amex at a 1-to-1, Citi, Marriott, Capital One, Brex. So pretty much the opposite of United is what you could transfer over to Avianca, and pretty much all of them will transfer almost instantly. So I would say if you have Chase or Bilt points, I would go with the United option to book this. If you have all the other points, then I would go with Avianca Life Miles. I hope you found these tutorials helpful. Please let me know in the comments if you have any questions about any of these options and which option you would pick. And if you like this video, I think you'll also enjoy this podcast episode about how to really maximize your points and get 8 business class flights for only 125,000 miles total, which is one of the most optimal redemptions currently in existence. Enjoy!